All right, once again, welcome back to DTR's YouTube channel. As always, I want to say thanks to everybody who's been tuning in, everybody who's subscribed. And with that, let's get on with the next video. Alright, so in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this 1951 Chevy pickup. This is DTR's first complete build that we did. This is basically the truck that made us decide to start a real shop and do this for a living. So let's take a quick look at it. Alright, so starting on the front end of the truck, one thing to note about this build was that the truck is a 1951 Chevy pickup, but it is on a later model 3/4 ton chassis, which was not done by us. That was the way the vehicle was bought. And in the process of this project, that's what we were given to work with, and there was probably multiple different directions we could have went with this project, but for the sake of budget, we tried to work with most of what we had given to us. So when it comes to cab mounting and body fitment, mounting of the bed, this entire build had to be customized to fit this frame. The cab, we started with the cab and the chassis, and that wasn't saying much because the cab consisted of the rear bulkhead, the roof, basically from about here down, it was completely rotted. And I'm talking the cab corners were gone, the back bulkhead of the cab was gone, the cowl panels were gone inside and out. There was no floor in it. The customer, in the process of getting the truck to us, had already purchased a complete floor pan and all the rust repair panels that were foreseen to be needed to get this thing back in shape. So by starting with the cab and chassis, we had to start with some kind of foundation to build the rest of this truck off of. So we started with getting the cab mounted on the frame properly, getting the doors mounted on the cab and gapped correctly, and as well the doors basically from about 8 inches from the bottom up were completely rotted inside and out. So there was a lot of fabrication done, basic fabrication done. Like I said, the cab corners were completely gone. The back bulkhead, can't really see in there, that was all had to be repaired. And that was just getting, oh, as well as these areas, cowl areas, they were completely, I should say, not completely gone, but they needed a lot of repair. This foundation had to be built for us to build the rest of the truck off of it. The fenders were replaced. The grille is a new replacement, as is this lower valance and bumper. Some of the original parts that came on the truck, they were just so far beyond repair, and since there's a large aftermarket for this series of truck, it's sometimes better just to get an aftermarket and make it work. Now, like when it comes to the fenders, the aftermarket is out there, and these are nice replicas, but when it came to the mounting of the fender, like this line for example, where the fender meets the cowl, it was such a bad fit that I would be able to put my fingers in between the two panels. So the fenders were customized to fit tightly to the cowl for that perfect fit. The hood had already been closed up. The front emblems that you normally see on these trucks, that was all closed off. The seam going down the middle, that was all already partially started and closed off. And again, this is the look that the customer was going for in the end anyway. The vent that goes on the top of the cowl, that was also closed off. Not sure, can't remember if that was partially done already, but that's something we finished up. And we go under the hood, and you can see the wheel liners are all finished just as well as the outside of the truck is. The firewall up to the seam here, from the seam down, that whole entire firewall was replaced. And as you can see, it's all clean and smooth, and there's not all kinds of wiring and junk you don't want to be looking at. A lot of new parts like the brake booster and such were purchased and installed. Nice aluminum radiator with electric fan. Some custom aspects of this truck, some parts are readily available to be purchased, but again, the underside of the hood is painted and finished as nicely as the outside of the truck is. As always with any DTR build, the panels were all taken down to bare metal and epoxied, and all the necessary steps were taken. Going back, here we see, and as I just demonstrated, we eliminated the door handles for that smooth look, custom look. Installed the electric door openers as well. When it came back to the running board, we got these custom running boards, and again, as like anything, they were a good start, but we had to finish them off some way. So we went ahead and formed them in with the fender, tightened them up, and installed this nice welt. As you can see, the welt comes from the back of the fender all the way up and over, down, and all the way out into one piece. We got welt in between the cab and the filler panel there. Everything is a really super tight fit to each other, but like anything, whether it was this form to the fender, which again, the fenders were original 51 fenders and they were in really rough shape. These bottom halves were completely replaced and fixed, as was the back half of the fender, which we'll get to in a minute. But any of these fit ups like this, to get this fit up to the cab, this doesn't just come like this. This had to be made to fit that just so perfectly. So moving along to the back of the truck, as you can see, we got installed these 59 Cadillac style taillights. As I mentioned earlier, the fenders were the original fenders, but these bottom halves, like many and any old vehicle, they were rotted out pretty good, so a lot of this had to be reformed and fabricated and so on. The bed, while I'm down here, we put this nice roll pan on with this louvered tailgate. We got this dual exhaust system custom made for this truck, which also has turnouts halfway underneath the truck. Gives a little bit more gnarly sound, if that's the kind of thing you're into. The bed complete was all new. These bed rails, the bulkhead, this is all new. The bed that had come with the truck had been so bastardized that there was no way that it would have been cost effective to try to fix it. But some little features with the bed was obviously we closed up the pockets on the bed rails. Like I said, this tailgate, louvered tailgate, did not come this way. This was one piece, this tailgate was one piece, and the louver panel was another, and that all had to be put together and fabricated to fit. One of the other features on this truck is the tailgate doesn't have any straps. Which I can show you that in a minute. The tailgate will support its own weight. We made custom hinges ourselves. We use these latches and made these little stainless guards for closing the tailgate. One nice little, see if I can show you, this holds itself up. The bed wood had been started prior to us getting it. We then ripped it down, routed it to inlay the stainless strips as well as the gas filler lid, and then we used marine grade epoxy resin to then coat the top side and actually the bottom side as well, to coat the wood to protect it. And after seeing this, after so many years, it still looks like the day it left. Really proud of this truck. Taking a look at the inside of the cab, again, just as much work went into these, went into the inside of the cab as did the outside. And just like the outside, the inside of this cab, like starting with the dash, was in horrible shape and took a lot of work to get this to look the way it does now. These, obviously the glove box and this stuff was all replaced. Again, for this stuff, things are readily available. All new gauge cluster. I mean, there isn't much in this truck that isn't either replaced or had some sort of work done to it. Ooh, got some sticky stuff there. But all in all, looks really good. The upholstery work was not done by us, but was farmed out by the customer, and really complements the entire job and has held up well. There's so many aspects of this job and so many little parts and pieces that had to be fit and fixed, and I could just go on, and I'm not going to do that. So as always, thanks to everybody who's been tuning in. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.